My job is not to coddle Africans in the diaspora in the Americas. I don't have no personal beef with them people, right? I'm just saying that we was already here and we actively reclaiming what's ours. And while we doing this over here, Africans is actively reclaiming what's theirs. Once we get done reclaiming everything, we gonna have everything. So if they feel like they African roots is more important than they ties to this land, participate in Africa's struggle to overthrow the colonization of the African continent, they not finna go over there. Ain't none of them, Dr. Umar Johnson is not finna move to Africa. He can be unapologetically African. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But he ain't finna move to Africa. They live good in parts of Africa. All of Africa not in poverty like they have us believing. They got metropolises over there, booming, bustling cities, right? And all over the continent. This is a global struggle of the organic peoples from all over the earth to reclaim their birthright. That's all. If they feel like they want to reclaim their birthright and they from Africa, you better go over there in the system and take back what y'all was stolen from y'all. Because that's all we doing over here. We ain't asking for no handout. We know that they can't pay us reparations. When they give us everything back, they're not going to have nothing to give us because they owe us everything. And we back for everything they owe.
That's right.
So that's my position on that. I don't mind them being African. They can be as African as they want to be. They can put on the dashiki, which is actually southwestern United States in origin, but we don't want to talk about that. And the colors might be African, but all it is what the Spanish call a poncho, made with a different fabric. Right? They had different styles, and they named each of the different styles different. So it's fine if people are African Americans. But just remember, when you start discovering your native roots, have that same passion for claiming your native birthright when you do your investigation. Keep the passion the same. That's all I say.
Hey, Rod, the next question we got for you is not a Pope. Now we know that the Pope been getting his cut. He been off our backs and our labor, and the Pope getting all the benefits. And could you go in to break down on how the Pope connection and us, like with the Black Christian codes and all that, with connection with the Pope and on the land, and how now the Pope has pretty much been, we said we don't need his services no more. Like Nino Brown told that old boy outside of the Carter, your services is no longer needed. So could you break down why the Pope services is no longer needed over here on this side of the land?
Well, we never needed it. We never needed their services. They just killed off all of the ones of us that knew what needed to be done over here, so they can come in and act like somebody's savior. They not saving nobody. Look, I said this the other day. I'm gonna say it again. If your God did not create you organic to somewhere on the planet, your God not from here. Your God is an extraterrestrial. Because if you're not from Earth, you something extra on Terra. You are extraterrestrial. So if your God is extraterrestrial, that makes him a foreigner. That makes him an alien. The organic God of the earth created a place for everybody to belong that's from the earth. And then told us to move around the earth and get to know each of the tribes so you'll know when something's wrong. That's what our world history is supposed to be teaching us. How to have empathy with foreign cultures, so we not met with racism and discrimination, but they did it on purpose. Racism and discrimination is part of the doctrine of divide and conquer, right? So they had to create the castes, and they used skin color and the brown paper bag test to determine that the caste would be enforced by complexion. When SikApe put the Pope on notice, and he responded by repealing the discovery doctrine. That's called the fruit of the poison tree doctrine. All of the treaties and all of the laws that was passed under the corporation being ran by the Pope. But they told us it was our government. It wasn't never our government. It's always been an occupying foreign force on the land. So the services of them ain't needed because we know how to run our own government now. We don't need them. We got the best people to put in the place to fill the job until somebody either better come along or they train a replacement.
Hey, Rod, you said that the Pope that they put. I'm gonna post. It's a whole bunch of receipts that I got, but like on one of them receipts, you said that the Pope, they pulled him out from under the bed, right? They got a dummy Pope that they set up. Go ahead.
So they use holograms and they use Android, right? The Pope now, which we call the secondary Pope. Remember, it's two popes operating, two white popes operating at the same time. Right, one of them allegedly abdicated, but according to papal law, once you're the Pope till you die. Ain't no changing. All of a sudden, he gonna step down. He can't step down, or if he step down for real, he gonna get murdered. Because that's the papal rule. One of the bishops is supposed to cut his throat. If his throat not cut, that means he didn't step down for real. So when the other one, the android, come in, right, then they put him up there because they trying to match it with the prophecy. That's why they made that movie to Two Popes.
Now you got the other Pope. They said it's the black. They call him the Black Pope, the Jesuit, the leaders of the Jesuit Pope. Now, how does what do they play in the background? These Jesuits and these Black Popes, are they like the
Jesuits is the Secret Service of the Vatican. They the ones who do all the stuff that the Secret Service for the president of the corporation does. All the dirty work, the assassinations and all that kind of stuff. The Black Pope is over the Jesuit Society, which is the secret society of priests. They all ran by some dirty Moors. Y'all seen the Pope kissing their feet.
Right. And the Pope go bow to the Black Madonna in his secret room in the back. I got pictures of it. The Pope kissing feet, kissing crusty feet too. I'm joking. The feet crusty. Tell me, man. That Pope is freaky guy, man. All right. So another thing, with the Vatican and the gold, and we heard a while back that Donald Trump was some kind of way getting some gold hauled back on some aircraft carriers, and bringing that gold back from the Pope. And what was that? What is that connection with us? Like as far as our wealth, natural wealth as indigenous people to the land, and connection with him getting that gold back from the Pope?
The people of the land had a repository called Fort Knox. Remember that?
Right.
Fort Knox Right. Fort Knox is where we kept the finances to run government. When the corporation took over, they trying to figure out how to steal the gold. When they instituted the stock market crash in 1929, that was to make the federal government insolvent. So Teddy Franklin, I think it was Franklin Roosevelt, repealed gold. He ordered everybody to turn in all their gold. They took all this gold and gave it to the central banking system called, to later be known as the Federal Reserve, to establish a central banking cartel over here. Basically, they paid the enemy to come in and set up camp and control how we spend money. So when they went over there to shut down the Vatican with the Earth Alliance, they flew home 650 planes, cargo planes of the gold that they stole from us. Right. There's other people's gold that went home too. This 650 planes was the gold that they took from us. Right. So this is what took us off the gold standard and the gold back and the silver certificate notes. And that's how they've been robbing us ever since.
Well, hey y'all, this for the people that's in the audience, they will say, "Oh yeah, when Raw doing this is a question and answer class. You could drop your question in the chat right now, and we'll take your questions. We'll be just coming in, clearing some things up because people was asking. It's a lot of questions they were asking on the tapes that we put out with Raw with the public service announcement, and Raw is pretty much telling y'all it's over with, but people still the only reason they ain't over with yet completely is because the people. The people. Hey, Rod, this is my next question for you. Why is it important for the people to get what you're saying? Because that's indigenous to the land. Why is it important for them to get what you like saying about how this system is over? Go ahead.
This is because it's restoring our birthrights to us, and it's unlocking all of the wealth that we had. This is why a lot of us feel like we were supposed to be born rich, but we ain't. We in poverty, right? Because the wealth of the land belongs to the people of the land. The regulation of the land belongs to the mothers of the land. So all of the stuff they're doing with these toxic chemicals on the land, they got to stop. This is why it's important. Chopping down all of the trees, deforesting the nation, right? All that stuff had to come to an end. But if we don't become aware of what I'm talking about, we helpless, scattered to do anything about it. And that's why it's important to catch it. Go ahead, Elder.
Somebody in the crowd said that what should we do? What about the jobs? How's the new job system? How are we going to get paid in this new system? When everything's going to be the fiat's going to be gone.
So it's going to be the first thing that's going to be rolled out is finding housing for all of the homeless people. Should nobody have to live on the street unless they choose to. Right? That should be, when we used to pitch tents, they said we lived in them. We didn't live in tents. We was traveling across the land, and then was settlements, campsites. Right? We had castles all over the land, but when you traveling, right, and you using tents for your lodging, for your overnight stay. Excuse me. Pitch the camp. Set the camp up. Right? And this is why, like, when you watch the Westerns, it always seemed like some natives just popped up out of nowhere. Right? Because the way that the land is made, we have what was called travel routes. And the travel routes was cleared so we can get through from one side of the land to the other. Sometimes we used the waterways and boats, right? And canoes wasn't the only boats we had. The Mississippians had a navy, and they roamed the Mississippi River in the Gulf of Mexico. That was their patrols. Well, we don't remember none of this stuff because they systematically took it out of the books, but some of the books are still around.
Hey, Maurice, shout out Maurice Coopy, man. It says, how close are we to the 100 monkey effect taking place with this information?
It still has to be, we still have to get to critical mass. The 100 monkey effect is going to take more people because we got a larger population than the 100 monkeys. You know, so I can't tell you how close we is, but when it pop, it's going to erupt. Everything going to just start spilling out.
It's that Dirt Coast podcast said that who really is Big Meech on the land? What? Because they say they hear people calling Big Meech chief on the land, and so who is really Big Meech on the land?
So Big Meech is what we would call in ancient times a prince trainer. We needed him at this time to return to teach the boys how to live with opulent wealth. When you give poor people a whole lot of wealth, they don't hold on to it long because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to live with it. Some of them kill themselves because of the stuff that comes along with it. So Big Meech was using the avenue of drug sales to accumulate the wealth to be able to form his spiritual duties. Reason why he was forced into the drug trade is because we was at war the whole time. He had to figure out a way to get rich. But that's what he was doing with the BMF. He was teaching these young boys how to carry themselves when they start getting money. You know, how to be considerate of the other brothers that you working with and how to work as a team so we can stop losing all the time. This is why the real reason they wanted him off the street had nothing to do with the dope, because the government bring more dope over here than Big Meech could sell in a lifetime. So it can't be about dope.
That's who he was getting it from. He was getting it from them the alphabet boys. They the ones that was, they was the plug.
The same with Ricky Ross.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
And you know, the same cop that was put on Biggie case was the same cop, Russell Poole, that blew the Iran-Contra out the water.
Wow.
Caught the CIA in South Central LA, and that's how he got to be called LA's top cop. That's why they gave him Biggie case, because he was LA's top cop.
Wow, that makes sense. I'm gonna do a documentary on Big Meech and how the CIA really was, they knew who he was. They really was mad that really the killer clowns really took him down, and he didn't even tell on them boys. He didn't even tell on the alphabet boys. He took the rap and took 30. Go ahead.
He wasn't in there to tell. Big Meech is he's from a certain area that teach guys a certain way to move a certain way, right? He need to take the silver lining out of this sewer drain, and then he got to figure out how to apply it to his life mission. Teach these boys how to live with this money without killing each other all the time. You know, you got notorious groups like YBI had infighting. You had the Pony Down, they had infighting. Best friends, they started killing each other. So he looking at this growing up, and he was like, ain't none of the OGs telling these guys it's enough money for all of us to get rich if we move in a certain way. If we understand that this money, don't let it go to your head, because they could take it at a moment's notice, right? But while we got it, this how we gonna live. They don't never go into all of the how he was getting people off